So the analytics of basketball are saying that mid-range jump shots are a bad shot in today's game. And not just specifically because it's a low percentage shot, but because of this thing called points per possession, which is interchangeable with points per shot. We're gonna break down what that's about and talk about analytics and everything that's going on with basketball and shot selection and why points are going up and people are not shooting as many mid-range jump shots, and it's turned into a game that's focused around three-pointers and layups. Now, some of you might have seen this image floating around the internet, and this is a real shot chart from an LSU vs. Alabama basketball game. And the thing that sticks out very quickly is, besides for those two misses right there in the paint, Alabama only took layups and threes the entire game. So we're going to dive into this offensive philosophy by Nate Oates and see if there is a correlation between this sudden rise of Alabama basketball and them relying on the statistics of points per possession. But before we get into it, here's a word from the sponsor of this video. Coaches, if you're looking for a new customizable board, then Hoops King is the place for you. Their website is easy to navigate, and you can customize your board down to the most personal details. And having a two-sided feature will allow you to keep track of everything that you need to come game time. And you can select your line options, so whether you're in high school, college, or the NBA, there's a board just for you, which is one of the reasons the Los Angeles Lakers purchased their boards from Hoops King. And I can personally guarantee you that the logo that you customize on the website will look exactly the same way in person, if not better. And they guarantee swift delivery, so you'll have your new board within 10 days of ordering. The link to their website is in the description, or just type in hoopsking.com. If you take a look at KenPom, which is considered to be the best advanced statistical breakdown that you can find, Alabama finished second in the country behind the national champions in offensive efficiency. And the reason why is because of their efficient points per shot average. According to Synergy Sports Tech, they finished at 1.12 points per shot on the season. Now, all of these numbers might not mean a lot to you, but I'm going to help break it down so that you understand. Alabama's offense is focused around trying to get to the paint and shoot layups. The reason why is because the goal of points per shot is to score 1 point per shot. That's efficient in college basketball. So from the 2-point range, if you shoot 50%, that equals 1 point per shot. Because if you shot 5 for 10, that's 10 points in 10 shots, giving you 1 point per shot. Now, the other reason why they want to get to the paint and score layups is because most shooting fouls take place inside the paint as guys are trying to attempt to score at the rim. So if we break down Alabama's rotation players and what they shot from the free throw line, they averaged 79.1% from the free throw line. And if you take that times 2, because most people go to the free throw line to shoot 2, that equals 1.58 points per possession, which is essentially the same thing as points per shot. So when they get to the free throw line, it's 1.58 points per shot. But what everybody wants to talk about is how many threes Alabama shoots in a game. The reason why they do this, it all comes down to the numbers. When it comes to threes, you only have to shoot 33.3% to get 1 point per shot. So if you took 9 threes and only made 3 of them, that's 9 points, which means you shot 1 point per shot. But the thing that people don't realize, because they just think that Alabama is jacking up shots, is they shoot 37.7% from 3, which means they are scoring 1.13 points per shot every time they shoot a 3, which is slightly better than their overall average. But that's not all. Because they shoot so many threes, defenses are aggressively closing out the entire game, worried about giving up those open threes, and all it takes is one bad closeout for them to get downhill, force help, and now they're getting dunks. And to add insult to injury, you have possessions like this, where on a kickout, you get this aggressive closeout where they're going to drive downhill, and as they force help, the guard is worried about giving up that alley-oop, so he crashes down or helps the helper, and then they give up the 3 that they were trying to avoid in the first place. So the shot that Alabama doesn't shoot, which is non-paint 2s or mid-range jump shots, is again based on points per shot average. And the reason why these shots don't give you a good ROI is because of 3 things. The first is that this shot is worth the exact same amount as a dunk or a layup, and you're not going to make it at the same rate. Number 2, you don't put a lot of foul pressure on the defense when shooting these shots. And number 3, most mid-range jump shots end up being heavily contested. But let's put some numbers to this. Rob Dillingham from Kentucky was one of the best shot makers and mid-range jump shooters in the country this season. So during his freshman campaign, he was 22 of 48 for 45.8% from mid-range jump shots. This is 0.92 points per shot, which all things considered is a very high clip to shoot tough mid-range jump shots. But even with those impressive numbers, he still didn't meet the threshold of 1 point per shot. But if you look at what he did from the three-point line, he was 64 of 146 for 43.8% from the three-point line, which is 1.32 points per shot. Which means even while he was shooting 2% worse from three than mid-range, he was almost gaining an extra half a point every time he took a three rather than shooting a mid-range jumper. But the truth is, our game has adapted to shooting more threes because we all know they're more efficient. It was not uncommon back in 2015 to see somebody come off of a ball screen on a regular occurrence and shoot these tough mid-range jump shots even if they were contested, because that's just the way that they played the game. So you would see ball screens happen all the time where guys would come off and shoot tough mid-range jump shots that usually didn't go in. But in today's game, that's considered settling. So now you have situations where guys come off of ball screens and are very capable of making mid-range jump shots, but they will turn it down because instead of trying to get that tough two, they're going to keep setting ball screens and working until they can get a dunk or an open three. But this isn't just Alabama. We've all learned that there are more efficient shots than shooting mid-range jumpers. Take this for example. Reed Sheppard is a great shooter and probably works on this pull-up, but he recognizes that it makes more sense to throw the lob and to get a layup or a dunk than to shoot that midi. And just in general, we're much more conscious of where the three-point line is than we used to be. In this same game in 2015, you're going to see him come off the ball screen and shoot this long two by having his foot on the line. And this didn't happen all the time, but it certainly wasn't rare. Whereas in our game today, guys go out of their way to make sure their feet are behind the line, even if they have to go into a step back to make sure they get 3 points if they're going to shoot it from that far away from the bucket. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. I know that this is a hotly debated topic on both sides, so I'd be curious what you think. Go ahead and comment down below, share it with your friends, and let's see how people feel about the analytics. Thanks for coming through. We'll see you next time in the film room.